Delighted to be joined by former Peterborough United winger Chris Whelpdale. Chris, first and foremost, staying safe?
Yep, staying safe, staying at home, and looking after the kids at the moment.
Yeah, you've got a garden project going on as well. I think this is part of what adulthood and being a dad is all about at the moment.
Exactly, yeah, very green fingers at the moment. Been laying some new lawn and stuff, so no, it's keeping me busy, and playing with the kids, keeping them occupied as well.
Fantastic. Well, I want to talk to you about your time at Peterborough United. There were a lot of players that were signed from non-league during the era that you were with the football club, but probably nobody from as low as the level you were playing at. Can you sort of remember much about how Peterborough first came on the radar for you?
Yeah, so I was at Billericay Town at the time in the Ryman Prem at the time. Yeah, that was back then. And I joined partway through the season actually at Billericay. There was a bit of confusion with a contract that I'd signed in non-league, and I had a really good season playing right wing, scored 14 goals, and towards the end of the season, I heard there was a lot of interest from other teams. I think it was Swansea, Southend, and Peterborough. I think Swansea obviously were a bit lower back then. Southend was on my doorstep. I knew a lot about them, but Peterborough sort of sprung to mind. It was like moving away from home, sort of learning a lot, and sort of grow up a little bit as well at a young age. So I decided to pick Peterborough. They were an ambitious team at the time, and that's why I made my choice. Yeah.
Did you see it more of a challenge to sort of see a bit more about your identity as a person as well as progressing your career then?
Yeah, definitely. It's an opportunity. I sort of got on the property ladder quite early. It was a time for me to grow up and sort of move away from home as well. So if I could have stayed and made the easy choice of going to Southend, but I thought it was the right choice at the time to go to Peterborough, and it ended up being quite good.
What do you remember about the actual negotiations in terms of contract? Because speaking to other players, they said they went into a room with Barry. Barry said a figure, I ain't moving from that. That's how it is. You take it or leave it. Is that pretty much how it was for you? Because I guess as a non-league player, did you have an agent at the time? How was it working?
No, it was just me and my dad. That was pretty much the scenario that happened. As it was an opportunity for me, so it was one that I wasn't really going to turn down. It would give me an opportunity to play professional football full time. So whatever the deal was, I think I was going to take it anyway. So I was happy.
Yeah, it's bizarre because obviously you speak to a lot of players and they were full time. You were actually part time, as you mentioned. Was that something that you feared, or was it something you really were excited about testing yourself at?
No, I didn't really fear it at all. No, I was really looking forward to it, obviously, and I've always been quite a fit player. So sort of the daily training sessions, I wasn't really that worried about. So no, it was just an exciting prospect, really.
What did the manager say to you? Because again, negotiations, the money side is obviously what Barry deals with best, and then obviously the manager will come in and talk to you about football. What did he say to you during those conversations? Can you remember much about what was said, or was it more about you're so open-eyed?
I can't remember the details, really. I really can't. No.
I mean, I suppose for you, again, it would have been a bit of a blur because, you know, you're sitting in front of a manager of a professional football club, and it was just a case of, right, I'm signing. I don't really care what you say. I'm going to work hard for you and try and get in the team. Was that how it was?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I'm sure you saw my first interview with you. It was absolutely horrendous. So yeah.
I think obviously the step up was always going to be massive for any player making that leap, but you seem to take it in your stride quite quickly. Did you have a wonderful first week in training? Can you remember much about the level of intensity that you were training at?
The fitness side of it, I think that helped me actually to sort of to stand out a little bit. Mm-hmm. I've always been at the top, at the front of running and this, that, and the other. So straight away, that's the first thing you do, I suppose, in football, isn't it? Pre-season, and that's the first thing a manager will see. So if you're doing well in that, they're going, it can spark something, can't it? So that could possibly be one reason. Obviously, I think I had a good pre-season football-wise as well. So I didn't go in expecting to. I think I started the first game of the season, and I didn't go in there expecting to start, and that sort of shocked me a little bit. But no, it was. I enjoyed that. It's brilliant.
Obviously, the players you had around you, there was particularly in League Two, obviously, there was a splattering of experienced players like your Micah Hyde, your Dean Keatses, Chris
Yeah.
Westwoods, obviously, that were around. But predominantly, it was a very young dressing room. Did you feel, because you, from recollection, apart from your shocking Barnet, you were quite a mature lad for your age. Did you feel quite, hello, yeah, you've had a right go. Did you feel like you'd found a niche in the dressing room quite quickly?
Yeah, I think we all bonded so quickly. I think, as you said, we're all young, we're all hungry. We're all sort of, a lot of them have come from non-league, so they're kind of in the same kind of shoes. And that mix with the experience as well, I think really helped to ground everyone and get on the right track. And we all lived in each other's, like on each other's doorsteps. We were always with each other 24/7. Would go to training, go back home, would be like spending more time with each other, having dinner with each other. So that really helped us bond really quickly.
Yeah, I guess everyone talks about the team spirit at that time, and you can engineer team spirit, or it can be quite natural. I think in that instance, it was quite natural because, as you say, there was a lot of people coming in of the same age, so it made sense to socialise. There weren't many people that arrived with partners either, so I guess sharing cooking duties was inevitable.
Yeah, we're all single, all lads that we're out houses and sort of going between houses of and cooking for each other and stuff. I think I ended up being one of the top chefs, I think,
What
at the time.
What was your speciality at the time?
So no, yeah, I do think that helped with the success that we had there. Like, it did come naturally, as you said. Like, we didn't have to work for that morale. We were all like on each other's doorsteps and with each other every single day. So that definitely helped.
At what point during that League Two season did you feel that automatic promotion was on the agenda? Because obviously we'd had some very good results, but there were obviously 3 go up automatically from League Two, and obviously you had the playoffs. Did you feel that the squad was capable of getting automatic promotion?
So, like, obviously, being my first year, I didn't really know what to expect, to be honest. I knew a few of the players from before, and obviously the club's, Darren McCanty's obviously really ambitious and wanted the club to go forward, and he got a great manager like Darren Ferguson there. So I had a kind of a vision in my head, but I didn't think it would happen so quickly, like it happened, like back-to-back promotions, like I said. I sort of come into it thinking, oh, this is easy. You just turn up and you win. No, but yeah. So, what was I saying there?
You were just talking and rambling, and I was just listening. No problem. In terms of the game at Hereford, obviously speaking to Keatsy, he scored the winning goal that got us promoted, a diving header. Probably not textbook for a 5'2" player like Dean Keats. Obviously, you put the ball in for him. That game at Hereford and that day, I don't think many people expected us to get promoted on that day because there was obviously a few permutations. What do you remember about that? Do you remember putting the ball in? Do you remember Dean Keats throwing himself at it?
Yeah, no, I remember that game really well, really well. Yeah, I think I just put my head down, tried to beat my player. I managed to cut the ball because I was right at the byline, I think, right in the corner. So I managed to get my foot round and just put it in the box and sort of hope for the best. And yeah, Keatsy, little man, was there to poke it in. Brilliant. I mean, great thing.
Yeah, you were sort of an old school winger to a certain extent. I don't want to describe you as a David Beckham. However, David Beckham wasn't someone necessarily who would dribble past someone and get to the byline with pace and whip it. And you were very technically gifted and also great at getting the ball in early, which I guess when you have the strikers that we did, kind of suited their style quite well.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think I was a bit more old school in terms of like how I played. I think I've changed a little bit now. Actually, I do tend to drift more inside, where then I used to stay out quite wide. As you said, put quite a lot of early deliveries in, and when you've got the likes of Boydie, the back stick, and Aaron and Craig that can get in front of people, that's sort of what you've got to do, really.
I always remember the game at Cheltenham, the 6-3. Which I think Aaron scored inside too. I mean, Boydie scored, then Aaron scored. I think you scored at the back stick. Yeah. But that was what it was in League Two, wasn't it? You had so much firepower that if you conceded a goal, you'd go down the other end and score. I guess it was a 4-4-2, but in reality, it was a 4-2-4, wasn't it? With the players that you had, that must have been so enjoyable to be involved in.
Oh yeah, having the freedom to go forward and knowing that you've got the attacking force to do it was brilliant, and it was great that Darren Ferguson gave us that freedom to go and express ourselves and do what we want in the final third. But then knowing we had a secure back 4-6 to sort of to if we do lose it and they break, that they can keep a solid line for us. So it was that definitely helped when going forward. You knew if you had a solid back, it doesn't matter too much if you did give it away.
It's strange to say, but there was another tactic that when the goalkeeper had it, they would try and pick you out on the right wing, get us up the pitch,
yes.
You'd win the header, and suddenly we were going forward. Football can be so simple so many times.
Yeah, that has been a thing that's been used quite a lot in my career. Obviously, my timing, my heading was quite good. So when you got someone like Joe Lewis that can pick you out and flick it on to rapid forwards, that was definitely a way out. And other clubs that I've been at have used that as well. And I think it's quite a useful tool to have.
Before we go on to League One, just in terms of the style of play, obviously you had George on the left and yourself on the right, and then you had the two experienced men in the middle. How important were Micah Hyde and Dean Keats to that success that year?
Yeah, their voice was really important. They're both quite vocal, and like to have them and getting tucked in and not getting carried away, and like encouraging at the right times, getting on your back at the right times. All those things really helped us youngsters, I think, definitely me, obviously coming into it. So no, you can't not have a team with those kind of characters in the middle.
And that summer, the chairman was very vocal and said he wanted to get promoted again. As a young player, were you listening to that and thinking, yeah, let's go for it? Or were you a little bit worried that wouldn't be the case?
No, well, it was my first season. I got 1 out of 1. It was brilliant. So I was like, yeah, let's go again. And I said, with the morale that we had, we were sort of like, we thought we were unstoppable kind of thing. So I think we had a few more additions that year. And we cracked on again, and it was another great season.
Yeah, that season, of course, there were so many big teams in the league. Leeds were in the league, Leicester were in the league, and you sort of kind of went in a little bit more as an underdog, because in League Two, I guess people from the outside would have thought, a bit of money being put into that football club, they should get out of that league. Whereas to get out of League One wasn't expected. So did you like the role of the underdog?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, so I think the team that we have, that we were all young and hungry. So I think that, again, that helped. And I think going off the back of getting promoted from League Two really helped as well. That sort of gave us that extra confidence. So I think we all believed it. I think we didn't go in there thinking that we didn't have a chance. We were just there to add up the numbers. We went in, we were drilled into it. It was drilled into us as well from the manager. He was really, really positive about that and saying, look, we can do this. So yeah, that definitely helps as well.
And some really notable results. Obviously, Leicester and Leeds stand out because, again, massive crowds, big expectation from the opponents in terms of getting a result and obviously turning them over. You scored, I think it was the Leicester game you scored in, wasn't it? The second goal. What was that moment like for you?
That was I think I was having quite a good period with quite a few games where I was scoring quite a few goals around that time. So when you get the ball, you feel a bit more confident around goal when you're scoring. And I do remember that. It was a pretty packed London Road, and it's not called that anymore, is it?
It was London Road when you were playing, so that's fine.
That feeling of the second one going in and sort of knowing that the win was coming, it was an amazing feeling. I'd still see the video back and seeing us all celebrating together. It's amazing.
And when you look back now of all the things you've achieved in your career, I guess that moment and that feeling would be right up there, just purely because, Leicester went on to win the Premier League. I know it wasn't that side, but you can almost say you scored against the Premier League winning side.
I say that to the boys now. I've played against the boys. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It was a great moment. Obviously, again, playing against Leeds and clubs like that. Did you sort of have a pinch yourself moment? Because although you were riding the crest of a wave and enjoying yourself, you were still a lad that 18 months prior had been playing for Billericay. No offence.
Yeah, definitely. When you sort of going like away games, you're walking into those kind of stadiums and watching them on TV and seeing them in the Premiership. Yeah, you do have to kind of pinch yourself a little bit, but you can't let that like take over. You have to sort of get into football mode and sort of get on with it. So, but no, it's something sometimes sometimes I didn't think I took it in enough. When you look back on it, I go, I wish I sort of really like treasured that moment. Sometimes you do take it for granted when you're sort of going to nice stadiums and stuff all the time. But yeah, that's one thing I do like. Yeah, going to those kind of stadiums is pretty cool.
Yeah, I think as well, I guess the older you get and the more you become reflecting, there's always that phrase, isn't it? Footballers never take the moment in, or the career goes so fast that you can never really enjoy the moment. Do you sometimes feel that if you were able to slow it down just a little bit, you'd go home and actually reflect a bit more?
Yeah, definitely. And I actually remember Keatsy saying it. He said, boys, like, it goes so quickly, like, take it in and enjoy it, like when we were at Peterborough. And I was like, oh yeah, whatever. When you're young, you just sort of, yeah, that's fine. And no, it really did. It really did. And I definitely say that to up and coming people, like, just take it all in and don't take it for granted, because it does go fast.
Let's talk about the Colchester game then. Obviously, Charlie's been living off that moment and will continue to live off that moment for many, many years to come. Speaking to players that have been involved in that day, they never really felt that they were, speaking to Boydie, he never really felt we were in danger of conceding in that game, although it was only 1-0. Take aside the last sort of moments of the game and the celebrations live on Soccer Saturday, but the actual game itself, did you ever feel that there was anything other than that win going to be chalked up?
I can't really remember that game. All I can remember is me running around afterwards with a top hat on.
I think that's the thing, is like, because the game itself, obviously Charlie scored the goal and everybody's got a vision of that goal.
To be fair, I think that's all I remember. Chaz's goal, and then us all doing like holding hands, sliding in front of our fans, and me wearing a top hat. That's it. That was my memories of that day.
When I spoke to Boydie about it, because the ironic thing was that MK Don still had 7 minutes to play, and I think one of the people with the chairman had said the game's over, go and celebrate, and it wasn't actually over. We could have actually been on all of those TV nightmare shows.
Yeah.
But I guess in the moment, nobody was ever going to stop you, were they? At that point.
Exactly. No, when one person, when it starts spreading, and you think you have, you go on, you sort of get on with it. But yeah, could you imagine if that did happen? God, that'd be a bit embarrassing, wouldn't it?
I think so. What about the journey home? Did you come back on the bus? Because a few players went their own way, and I know, speaking of Dean Keats, I know he wasn't on the bus on the promotion for Hereford because he had an emergency within his family and obviously didn't get to soak that moment up. I guess you must have been on the back of the bus with a few light ales.
I think because I'm from Brentwood, I actually think I went back. I don't know if I can't remember if I went back home that day or not.
Did.
I think my plan probably was to, but then I think we ended up going out with the team.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember the Hereford bus journey quite a lot. We all stopped off and filled the coach up with alcohol and this, that, and the other. And I'm pretty sure, the first part of the journey after the Colchester one was involved a little bit of alcohol.
Yeah, and obviously when you get promoted, the thing that follows that naturally is an open top sort of bus parade around the city, and I guess those are moments that it can be a little bit more surreal than actually winning the league, because essentially you're on the top of a bus waving for about 45 minutes and posing for photos. Can you remember? Did you your family there? Do you know what that felt like?
Yeah, that was another amazing time, and I think that's when you sort of have to sort of take it all in. They're the sort of moments you have to remember. It's not many people get an opportunity to do that, and it was something that I'll sort of remember like forever. And then we've got pictures and videos that I can show the boys and stuff. So it's something I'm really proud of, and not many people can say they've done that in the first 2 years of professional football. Back-to-back promotions, getting 2 open top bus parades. Chaz is probably another one that could say that because he's got the same kind of career as me.
And he will. Where are the medals? Do you know where they are? Do your family have them, or you're not going to sort of?
There's one just here.
Yeah, nice.
That was the first one. So that was the League Two runner-up. And
Yeah.
that was a winners one at Gillingham in League Two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're going to start calling you medals, I think.
Mum and Dad have got they've got a little bar in their garden, so they've got a signed shirt in their garden. I think that was the Hereford one.
Yeah. So the promotion, the big open top bus tour. What happened in the summer?
So that summer, what did we do that summer? God, this is quite a long time ago. We had a few parties, but it was nice to go away in the summer, knowing that you've achieved something. With other seasons that come after that, you sort of go away and you feel like a bit devastated that the season come to nothing, kind of thing. I definitely enjoyed my summers more, knowing that we'd really achieved something. And yeah, as I said, like in other clubs, when that happened, you noticed it. I think I was spoiled a little bit coming into 2 back-to-back promotions.
Yeah, everyone talks about the championship and the first time around at the football club, because having got back-to-back promotions, the instinct would to say, let's see if we can do it again. But the reality of the gap between League One and the Championship was huge. Did you talk about that at all within players? Did you sort of think to yourself, we just need to chill here and not be as excited?
Yeah, I don't think we went in sort of thinking that, I put like we're going to go and get promoted again. But we all obviously you take that confidence in with you from getting promoted from League One. But yeah, I don't think we all got carried away at all with thinking that we would go up again. Yeah, I was a bit gutted that year, because that year I thought we started the season really well in terms of performances. We were playing really good football and dominating games, but we weren't taking our chances, which was very unlike us. And then we were conceding the odd goal here and there. So it was quite frustrating to start the season.
I think the thing about that championship year as well, there was a lot of obviously big teams at that level who knew how to win games in the championship. The championship's relentless, isn't it? You talk about leagues 1 and 2, but in the championship you can't pinpoint a side and say you're going to get 3 points there, because they're all of such incredible ability. And I guess mentally that must have been tough when you weren't picking up the results.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's like the Championship League's always so close, and I think that's something we all knew it would be close, and especially when you got teams like Newcastle just got relegated that year. So playing against teams like that, we knew that if you make mistakes, then you're going to get punished. And I think that's sort of where you could kind of get away with that in the lower leagues. But in this league, if you make mistakes, that's when you learn quick.
What was it like playing at stadiums like St James's Park, though?
I think St James's Park is one of the ones that always stays in my mind. And I think at the time they were having like some Mike Ashley. It was so loud. I remember getting off that coach and it was just so loud and quite intimidating. But yeah, when you step out and you're sort of looking up and you look at how high the stands were, that was pretty memorable game.
Yeah, and of course, it ended up being the Gaffer's last game as well. That was the game where obviously Aaron McLean didn't play, and Darren ended up losing his job. And then from there on in, obviously there was a number of managers between then and the end of the season, including obviously Mark Cooper and obviously Gary Johnson before the summer, and obviously Darren coming back. What sort of time was that to be a Peterborough United player?
Wow, it's so different. Like we'd been up here the whole time in the clouds, but then you snap back to reality again, aren't you? And it was something that I'd never experienced before. Even at the non-league, I hadn't experienced anything like that. So everyone had to do a bit of growing up and sort of be mature about it and get on with it. But yeah, it's not a nice time to go through as a player. As I said, you just got to get on with it and keep playing the football and trying to keep getting out results.
Yeah, speaking to others at the time and since, I think because there was obviously a change of management and also then an influx of players, it really did affect the team spirit at that time, because you'd obviously grown up together and had success together, and then suddenly there were different people from different backgrounds. Was that really hard in the dressing room to again find your place a little bit, because inevitably, if you've been together with a group of players for a while, you tend to stick with them.
Yeah, no, yeah, it's always difficult when new players come in, but as I said, you've got to be mature about it, and sort of we're all in the same boat. We all want to achieve the same thing, so you get around each other, get to know each other quite quickly, and crack on with there. And it's always good for a team to have competition. So you've got to react the right way.
Yeah, that following season under Gary Johnson, we scored a heck of a lot of goals, conceded a heck of a lot of goals as well. There were very big highs and very big lows, like Charlton at home when we got battered, obviously Brighton at home. I remember that was the flag day and the top versus second. Did you feel that there was going to be a break in the ice in terms of a change at that point?
I don't really know, if I'm honest. No, it was when you sort of repeatedly get into a sort of like rut a little bit, don't you? Where the results aren't going your way. You're like, come on, is it going to come now? Is it going to come now? But when you've got that little bit of doubt in your mind, it's not easy to get out of that. And yeah, I think we felt it was coming, and we were doing enough sometimes in games, but we just kept slipping at that last little bit, and it was hard to take.
Yeah, I think that summer everybody expected George Boyd to leave because he'd obviously been on loan at Forest beforehand. I think we were out in either Portugal or Spain, and then the chairman drops this bombshell that George has signed a new contract. As a teammate of him, I guess that must have come as a little bit of a shock, because most people anticipated he would move on at that point. So when he committed himself for that season and moving forward, were you surprised, shocked, delighted?
I was a bit devastated for him. Like, it was opportunities to go a little bit higher and play higher football. But for us, selfishly, we wanted to keep him. You need players like him in the team that can really spur you on and have that bit of class in the team. So yeah, as a selfish point of view, it was great for the team. But then it was we felt bad for him, because something like that, opportunities don't come around like that often. But for him, they did.
Yeah. Before we talk about the promotion and everything that goes with that, did you ever, when you were in the Championship or when we went back to League One, was there any talk about you getting a move elsewhere? Were the people sniffing around? Had you got an agent at that point? Was he doing a bit of work on your behalf? I mean, you'd assume that with promotions on your CV, you'd be an in-demand player.
No, I don't think I had an agent at that time. No, I was just sort of getting on with things. Again, I was new to all that kind of like transfers and this thing. So I was just getting on with playing football, really, and not sort of really worrying about that kind of thing. If it happens, it happens. If you're playing well enough, you'll get spotted, and there'll be interest, and they'll get in contact with you somehow. So that's kind of how I sort of got on with it. I wasn't searching for things to happen. I was happy there. Obviously, at the time, it wasn't like we're a bit up and down. But yeah, I was happy playing football at Peterborough.
And then Darren Ferguson walks back into the building for the second time. I guess that must have been a massive shock to the players, given how he'd obviously left previously. Did you have time to digest that, or was it a case of, right, I'm back, let's get back on the horse and see where we go?
Yeah, there's a few rumours going around. I didn't really know what was going on about like him maybe returning. And then I remember the time we were all sitting in the dressing room before a game, and he sort of walked in, and we were like, wow, what's going on here? And he had quite a big effect on us all. And I think there was some happy people and not so happy people in the room, as you get in any dressing room with any manager. So it was a bit of a shock, but that was a good shock.
Yeah, and I think David Oldfield was in charge of that game that we won, and then obviously Darren took over from there on in. Did he say to you straight away, we're going to get promoted, or we're going to aim to get promoted, or was there anything that you remember from any conversation with him in those early points that you thought, we can do this?
I think he came in and sort of carried on from where he kind of left off. I didn't see much of a change in terms of how he was coaching us, and he was always drilling it into us about promotion and winning and attacking and having that freedom. So I think it sort of just carried on. We kind of fell into where we were before with him. I think we knew we had a lot of success with him before, so we were like, we can do this again.
And obviously, Grant McCann in midfield was essentially Dean Keats in terms of that type of experienced midfielder who could score goals. What was he like? Was he similar to Dean, or was he a different kind of character?
Definitely, yeah. He's got a voice on him. He's got that experience, and he'll get on people, and if they need it, and get behind people. So, and someone like him taking free kicks around the edge of the box is always quite handy as well.
Fast forward, obviously, to the MK Dons semi-final. Obviously lost away from home 3-2 thanks to Grant's penalty and Mark Little's fantastic run to get into the box and lure a penalty. The second leg, obviously, the 2-0. A lot of players have said, and a lot of people have played in that game have said, what a wonderful atmosphere it was. Can you remember much about that second leg?
That was me. I was on the bench in those two games, but I think I come on in the last 20 minutes in the home game. But yeah, that was an experience after that. That was something that will stay in my memory. I had quite a lot of friends and family at that game as well, and I remember I sat up in the director's bit and all the fans from the pitch, and yeah, that was a pretty good night. And
of course, the final, you had a key role to play in a sense of getting out of the way of Grant McCann's free kick, I seem to recall.
Exactly, yeah. If I wasn't there, that was not going in. The keeper would have seen it.
I mean, it's a strange thing to discuss because it is very flippant and very irrelevant to the situation. But when Grant was taking a free kick, did you have a role in the war? Or did you just happen to find yourself there?
He just came to me and said, look, come and stand in front of this ball, and as soon as I get to the ball, just step to the side. So I did. Come on, it's my first thing I had to do. So I was like, all right, okay, I'll do that for you. And I timed it perfect. So good.
It's not something really you can practice, is it? It's like you're just following an instruction and it doesn't hit the ball on your head.
I was like, what? What do you want me to do? And yeah.
And obviously that feeling of getting promoted at Old Trafford. And speaking to players that obviously involved, they all wanted to play at Wembley. I'm guessing you were the same. You were a bit disappointed that it wasn't at Wembley. But I guess for the story of Darren, it was inevitable that it was going to be Old Trafford that led to glory. Yeah,
definitely. No, it was gutting because Wembley is the final. But if you're going to have a replacement, there's no other better place, really, is there? And it works out really well because we got the opportunity to go and stay up in Manchester early, and we were training at Carrington. So it was an amazing week. We were looked after really well there. And obviously, coming away with the victory as well just topped it all off.
Another medal in your bank in terms of promotions, and then I guess from highs to lows quite quickly because Darren obviously made his decision that there were certain players that weren't going to go on the journey with him back to the Championship. Can you remember that conversation? I mean, is it something that you expected, or was it a real shock to you?
No, I wasn't expecting anything. But that year, obviously, I went on loan to Gills, coming back from an injury when Gary Johnson was in, and they'd already shown quite a big interest in me going back there. So I think I had that maybe in the back of my mind that I could potentially go there because I really enjoyed my time there. I was back living at home with my parents and stuff, which was quite nice. But no, I expected to be at Peterborough that year for the next season, but yeah, it didn't turn out that way.
I suppose things always happen for a reason, and one of those reasons that ended up following you around like a bit of a bad spell was Charlie Lee, who I mean, before you left Peterborough, was Charlie a big mate in the dressing room, or were you close?
Yeah, definitely. We were always close. Yeah, I actually lived with him the first time I was at Peterborough when his house sort of like completed quite early. And I actually was living with him for the first 2 or 3 weeks. So I got to know him really well. And he'd come from Spurs, and I was like, I'm a Spurs fan. So I was getting all these stories about Spurs, which I'm pretty sure he loved. I shouldn't really say that now. He'll lap that up. No, yeah, we always got on really well. And yeah, he followed me down to the Gills.
Was that nice? I mean, I don't need to dwell too much career after Peterborough, but it's always nice when you go to another club if there is someone that you know.
Oh, exactly. It made it a lot easier having someone there that you know, and we actually travelled in together to Gills. We didn't actually live in Gillingham, so we were actually travelling into together every day. So yeah, our relationship grew like at our time at Gills. We were there for 3 years.
Final few questions then. During your time at Peterborough, you obviously played with some great players. Is there anybody, obviously people will say potentially George or this, that and the other, but is there any player that A, surprised you in terms of their ability, it's maybe underrated if you like, and B, was George the best player you played with?
I think Boydie, yeah, because he had that bit of class and that skill and that finesse about him, and goals, assists. He was and I got on with him really well. So yeah, Boydie was probably one of the ones that sort of stood out a lot in my mind. In terms of ones that have gone on to achieve more, Benno's done unbelievable. I always knew Benno had this. He had this sort of like calm, sort of relaxed kind of, and it was almost looked like he was like, it was almost too easy for him. But at the same time, it surprised me that he went on to do what he's done, which is amazing. But we always knew that there was something there, and obviously, he's gone on to do that.
Obviously, the goal against Leicester probably sticks in the mind, but obviously there would have been a better goal that you'd have scored in terms of, wherever it was and on the pitch. Is there anything that springs to mind?
What, at Peterborough?
Yeah. Because you scored quite a few, didn't you? I mean, let's be fair. You were a winger who scored a lot of goals, whether it be, getting into the box late or headers or whatever it might be. But
most of my goals were back stick goals, weren't they? But I think that's probably the goal that stands in my mind the most. Just the whole sort of feel of it all. The home game against Leicester, like a packed house, and it meant a lot. We were in a good run. It's almost like a local derby, I suppose, isn't it? I think that's the one that always sticks in my mind. And Joe took a great picture of me, so
he'll be absolutely delighted that he's got a mention.
I bet he will.
No other players mentioned him so far. And just finally, then, obviously you played for Darren twice. Was there any difference from first time to second time, from a player's perspective, in terms of how he was? I mean, he's always been described as a very good man manager, knows his players quite well. Like, there's been tales of, say, Gary Johnson maybe attacking Craig McHale-Smith, who potentially needed an arm around him, in terms of how they spoke. Was he perfect for someone like you in terms of how he treated you?
Yeah, I think so. I just, like, both times, I think he treated me exactly the same. I felt probably more comfortable the second time he came back. Obviously, I knew him quite well. He knew how to deal with me as well. But so when he came back, it sort of got on from where he sort of left, really.